Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Smile to Jannah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
You gotta start off quick.
Welcome to Ali Dawah's channel.
Moving swiftly on. We are going to react to Pablo Escobar. What's his real name? What the flipping hell are you doing? I'm gonna fucking slap your
I
face.
think I lost it.
Musa, you know him? Let's start.
Wait for that to stop wiggling.
Ah!
Oh, that's big.
Why the nose?
This is the only thing that's sticking out.
Okay.
Being shipped to the United States, and we're finding out that there's one person responsible for the shipment of this cocaine.
The man they are after is one of the most dangerous drug lords in Colombia. His name is Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar at this time was the biggest, the most powerful, the most violent drug trafficker that we had ever seen.
Escobar's factories are flooding the US with 2 tons of cocaine every day.
Drug-related violence has reached the level of carnage.
This poor country boy
Cocaine made Pablo Escobar one of the world's wealthiest men. In the 1980s, he formed the Medellin cartel, one of the biggest criminal organizations the world had ever seen. It supplied 70% of cocaine in America. With his money, Escobar created dozens of soccer fields, opened health centers, built entire neighborhoods from scratch.
Escobar is also a shrewd businessman and knows he needs popular support in his community. He builds football stadiums and schools here in his hometown of Medellin.
It's the principle
Yeah.
that we'll get into. The ends justify the means.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That as long as your ends are good, the means don't really matter.
Mm.
And it's interesting, we're going to see not only Pablo Escobar does this, but you've got other governments, CIA, they kind of think this as well.
He gives money to the poor and they love him for it. But if anyone gets in his way,
Now it turns a bit nasty. Now,
Torture people, burn them, cut them, just to tell other people this will happen to you if you come against me.
police, judges, and politicians are no exception. In 1989, Escobar's ruthlessness reached a new level. To silence 2 informers, he had a commercial jet blown up in
did you know that?
I heard it was one person he was looking for and he brought down that entire airplane.
So imagine his power
Madman.
and
midair. 110 people died.
He had no qualm about killing people. He killed at a will. He was our #1 target.
okay, basically what he did, is because the American government wanted him extradited to the US so he could serve his prison sentence there. And then the Colombian government they were like, okay, this is a good idea. So this guy started going on a mad one. He started blowing up everything and anything that moves, judges, police officers, everything, And then he said, okay, then we'll come to an agreement, I will serve 5 years in prison, He, Pablo Escobar, he said, I'm going to build my own prison. This has never happened in the history of mankind, He said, I'm going to build my own prison, and I'm going to stay there and serve 5 years, And in his prison...
In 1990, Escobar made a deal. He would surrender and serve a greatly reduced term in a cushy prison built specially for him, while the government would once and for all kill the extradition treaty with the US.
He surrendered into a facility that was really built by him, controlled by him. He built, in essence, a country club with all the amenities, allegedly built in his property, under his specifications. It contained hiding places throughout the buildings where he could hide money, weapons. He built a soccer field. He had a great suite for a cell, very well furnished, sitting room, a kitchen, a big bedroom with desk and working area in the bedroom, jacuzzi, connection to the next room, which was
I wish somebody built me a prison like that.
occupied
Give me their sentence.
by his brother Roberto. He could go in and out of the prison.
If you get a death sentence, they're not going to keep you in prison.
Yeah. They're gonna kill
Okay,
you.
I meant 4 life sentences.
So whenever he wanted to. His friends came in and he was conducting business from the prison.
And you know, in that same prison, he killed 2 of his partners. He chopped them into pieces and burned them.
Hundreds of Colombian troops are hunting the drugs baron Pablo Escobar, who escaped from prison during a gun battle. The government was about to move Escobar from a jail near the town of Medellin, where it said he continued to control the cocaine trade. The Colombian president, Cesar Gaviria, said he would still refuse to extradite suspected drug traffickers for trial abroad.
After Escobar escaped from prison, the Colombian government created the Search Block, a special military task force trained by the United States in order to find him.
The security forces were not the only ones hunting for Pablo Escobar. There was also a death squad funded by the Cali cartel.
There was more. So do you know who Cali Cartel is?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know?
No.
Who's the Cali Cartel?
That was like their rivals.
They were the rival
Drug traffickers.
drug traffickers, yeah? Because Pablo Escobar was working with communist soldiers as well, yeah? What happened was he got the communist soldiers and he paid them off to go to, like, imagine someone going to the, like, let's say the big, you know where the parliament is, yeah? And they're keeping documents they're going to use against Pablo Escobar. He pays the communist rebels off. They go there with tanks and blow up the whole place and burn the whole documents off, yeah? Like, bro, next level, bro.
Bro, if you see the like
footage, bro, tanks, they're going,
bro,
imagine.
it's like someone driving into St. Paul's Cathedral and just blowing it up.
Yeah, blowing up.
No.
Yeah, that's how
That
bad.
big.
That's how powerful he was. So
With a
obviously-
tank.
Yeah, and these guys, they hated the communists, if I'm not mistaken. They had an issue with the communists. So the Cali cartel, Pablo Escobar's enemies, get in contact with these guys and they form a death squad called Los Pepes. Yeah, people that are prosecuted by Pablo Escobar. Yeah, that's what it stands for, Pepes, P-E-P-O-S. And they start going on a mad one. They start killing all his soldiers and madness starts happening.
An organization that formed during the manhunt for Pablo Escobar. It was known locally as Los Pepes. And that stands for people persecuted by Pablo Escobar.
Every time they would kill someone, they would write Los Pepes.
This group basically turned the table on Pablo Escobar. They used his tactics to combat him.
Those people had a lot of information on Pablo. And along the way, they also started providing information and intelligence to the Colombian National Police and the DAS, the authorities in general. So they became so-called informants. And in the end, the Los Pepes ended up playing a huge part in the demise of Pablo Escobar because they basically left him alone.
So they sent 2 of their officers around to the backside of the house. Colonel Martinez is instructing them, hit the location, let's find out if it's Pablo. Let's don't take a chance on losing. One officer, as he was running up the steps, tripped and fell, which probably saved his life because Pablo shot at him at that exact moment. When Pablo gets to the 3rd level, he jumps out the window. He and the bodyguard are running across the roof of the adjacent row house. The bodyguard jumps off the roof. 2 police officers engage him in a gun battle and shoot him dead. Pablo heard the gunshots and realized that he was in crossfire. So he's trying to return fire to the apartment he just escaped out of, the row house. And he's also trying to return fire to the police officers on the ground. And they basically have him in crossfire. And Pablo Escobar is killed.
It's actual footage. Actual picture.
On that rooftop.
That's actual footage.
That's Pablo, yeah?
Yeah, that's actual footage. Bro, you know how long they was looking for this guy? Years, 10, God knows, maybe 10, 15 years. He would escape every time.
Because he worked with the poor,
Yeah,
you could see like loads, like thousands came to his funeral.
yeah.
They were loyal to the
Look,
end.
watch. Look, that's his body. So basically, you can see his his end. Personally, it just makes you reflect. You know what I'm trying to say? And obviously, Pablo Escobar, yes, he had a big fortune, etc., whatever it may be. But with our reaction videos, we don't just make it like, we're gonna do this and then the video's gonna finish. No, we want to benefit from it. What can we understand? What can we learn from it? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So now, this guy, if you look at his life, he's killed, they say thousands, maybe 30,000 people, maybe more than that, And you
Bro,
need to,
look, wait, let me correct that.
Yeah.
The guy was supplying cocaine. It's a class A drug.
that's
He's harmed many people's lives.
Not even thousands. We're talking direct killing is maybe.
If you're talking 80% of the world, bro, come on.
But this guy indirectly killed thousands of people. He blew planes down.
Buildings.
Now you need to ask yourself a question: how could somebody, like he had kids as well? He had a daughter and a son. He was alive today. And children. He blew up, like he brought a bomb so close to the prime minister's house or something like that. Innocent people were killed. This guy did not give a damn. He was killing left, right, centre. So he asks you the question, why would anybody come to that level of not caring, the selfishness? His son in an interview was saying the guy was obsessed with winning. That when they were playing Monopoly at home, you know the fake money, he would actually hide that. So just in case if he's losing the game, he would just take it out of nowhere. Like the guy was obsessed with winning. This psychology. So to me, it shows that what Allah SWT says in the Quran, those, for example, who make their desires their God. So this guy, because of, wanting to be there, be the man, be in charge, I have to be, etc. It's me. That has come at the cost of thousands of people dying. And look at the humiliation that look at the way he's died.
The CIA was doing was CIA allowed the Contras to bring crack cocaine into the US.
What has this got to do with Pablo Escobar?
I'll tell you. Because as cocaine was allowed to come in, this was in the 1980s. This was the time Pablo Escobar reached his peak. Because cocaine was coming in. And this is where people like Rick Ross, they emerged. Now Rick Ross was,
Not the rapper.
The rapper was named after...
Yeah, he's named after...
Is it?
Yeah, after Freeway Rick Ross.
He stole the name.
You thought he was the drug dealer from back in the day.
He's just a fat rapper.
Like Rick Ross apparently made about up to $1 billion in his life. He used to make $3 million a day.
What about Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne was just having relations with the bad man. They kissed.
Yeah, disgusting. He said he's my father.
Well, that's not what he said, but... In fact, why is it in 2007 there was an aeroplane that was shot down? It was CIA cargo aeroplane, just jam-packed with drugs.
Pablo Escobar and his lifestyle, very, very looked up to by a lot of young people, a lot of the youth, especially obviously guys, because you want to have the image, you want to have the nice cars, you want to have the women throwing themselves at you, you want to have, and drugs and all of these things are becoming promoted, etc. in this society. And if we look at people like Pablo Escobar, they never ever had a limit. They never ever had a thing where they were like, I'm content. And evidence of this, brothers and sisters, if you look at his life, the amount of homes that this guy owned in the hundreds, in different locations, the amount of cars, the amount of hippos, importing trees and all of this nonsense. You know why? It's literally because you don't find a sense of contentment. So when you live that sort of life, think about your favorite rapper that wants to be like Pablo Escobar, that is naming his album after Pablo Escobar. Think about these people. How are they? Every single time you see them, they're wearing different clothes, they're wearing a different watch, they're always bragging about their watch, their woman, how it's always changing. Why? Because they only find contentment in these things. So this sort of lifestyle, people can't keep up with it, and it will never bring you peace. And if you see how he ended up, that's how you will end up if you chase that sort of lifestyle.
Not only that, when we're talking about end up, like, do you think this was just his end? Do you think it was just like, bang bang, he got shot? Because if you think about it,
it's a destruction in this life and in the afterlife.
Where's the justice? Okay, look, he got killed. How many people did he kill? Okay, he paid for one person that he killed himself. But you think it's going to finish over here? No, it's not. You think God Almighty, who's created us, is just going to be like, okay, he's just created us in vain? No, he's not. He hasn't. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that to those who go into the fire, and may Allah protect us all, is that when their flesh is burnt, Allah says, I will renew their flesh so they taste the punishment again. So you can see Allah will do justice. What did he take from this life?
And Allah...
What did he take from this life?
Nothing. And you know what the amazing thing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, He always uses those people to prove that this is not success. Just like at the time of Fir'aun,
Yes.
there was a man called Haman. If you read
Yeah.
about him in the Quran,
Yeah, exactly.
he would literally go about flaunting his jewels, flaunting his carriages made of gold and everything made of gold. And literally Allah in front of everyone made the earth open up, all of his possessions and his belongings and himself fall into the earth, and the earth close.
You know what? The amount of people he's killed. Yeah, you know how it is when you kill one person.
Yeah.
We've seen enough movies, seen enough interviews where it's just driven people around the bend. They can't constantly see that person in their nightmares. And the amount of people that he's killed.
Exactly, your soul, you're soulless.
Bro, why do you think? And then why do you think he's? You said he's buying all this stuff. Why is it that now he's building orphanages and giving it to the poor? He's trying to renew his conscience.
Yeah.
But it's like the famous thing of Macbeth, that you see blood in your hands and you're washing. It'll never come off.
Yeah.
And in the end, these people ask for death.
Of course, it just shows you it comes from Allah. Look, there's somebody who had 30 billion. He was the richest. He had everything that he can have. He was not happy. But if Allah wants to put contentment in you, you'll find a man who's, I'm telling you, he has nothing. He's living in a shed. The happiness he has, this guy can't. He would die to buy it. So where does it show the happiness comes from? It comes from Allah, not from material gain. This sometimes we fall into. We think, I'm in control of my happiness. No, you're not. You're not. Happiness comes from Allah. Those who sacrifice this life, those who sacrifice the hereafter for this life, will lose both. Him. What did he gain? What did you gain?
No.
You lost this life and the hereafter.
And when
Those who sacrifice this life for the hereafter will get both.
A lot of people watching, they might not be practicing, or they might be thinking, you know what, this isn't going right. When this goes right, then I'll go to the masjid.
Yeah.
You're doing it the wrong way
Yes,
round.
yes.
You have to first correct your relationship with Allah,
Yeah.
then with the people. There's an order. Yeah, if you want to switch off a fan, you have to switch it off by the switch. If you put your hand in it, yes, it will stop, but you're gonna end up harming yourself. Like, people want to get rich quick, but at what cost? They've come to these countries, and there's a very important saying. They said, we've come to earn the dollar and the pound, but we've lost our gems and jewels.
Yes.
The gems and jewels is morals, ethics,
Yes.
culture. Children obviously are, leaving their deen.
Yeah, I hope you guys have benefited. I specifically wanted to...
marriage documentary coming soon. We are working on it, inshallah.
Inshallah,
It's gonna be coming soon.
Can you shut up, please?
It is going to be coming soon. Subscribe to me and smile to Jannah. Alright,
Alright guys, hope you have benefited, as you can see.
I've got a wife to go home to.
And
Now it's my turn now.
do you know Pablo Escobar?
Yeah, and if you guys want to learn more about Pablo Escobar, feel free to check
Shameless
out
plug.
Smile to Jannah YouTube channels.